Wasted career? That's what many people say about Mike Summerbee, the Manchester City icon who helped bring 4 major trophies to the club between 1968 and 1970, yet whose story is filled with controversy, injuries, and missed opportunities that make you wonder what could have been. Michael George Summerbee was born in 1942 and became one of football's true cult heroes during Manchester City's golden era. He was part of the famous attacking trinity alongside Colin Bell and Francis Lee, a partnership that made City one of England's most feared teams. But Summerbee's legacy isn't just about the trophies he won, it's about the man who earned the nickname Buzzer for his feisty, aggressive approach that both defined his greatness and nearly destroyed his career. At 82 years old, Summerbee remains a significant figure in English football history. He's still a club ambassador at Manchester City, showing his lasting connection to the club, but his story is one of contradictions. He's described as having a raging inferno rather than just fire in his belly, a player whose intensity was both his greatest weapon and his most dangerous weakness. The transformation that shaped Summerbee's career happened early on when his manager, Bert Head, gave him a severe reprimand for pulling out of 1 or 2 tackles. This moment changed everything. Summerbee later said, "I don't think I have pulled out of a tackle since." This decision to never back down became his signature, but it also set him on a path that would bring both glory and suffering. His Manchester City teammate Francis Lee famously said that Summerbee had a special ability to retaliate first. This wasn't just tough defending, this was a player who looked for confrontation. He believed in hitting opponents before they hit him, a philosophy that made him feared across English football. Opposing fullbacks, who normally didn't bother with shin pads, made sure to wear them when facing Summerbee. That tells you everything about the bruising encounters he created. But this aggression came with a price. Summerbee collected cards as though it were Christmas, leading to suspensions, FA hearings, and countless fines. Referees became quick to judge him as a troublemaker, and his reputation preceded him into every match. Even accidental collisions resulted in red cards, though sometimes the alleged victims later helped clear his name. In the 1971 season, he was sent off in the opening game for allegedly headbutting Southampton's David Walker, cementing his image as a hot-headed player. This created a cycle where his established reputation influenced how officials treated him. Once labelled a troublemaker, referees were more inclined to interpret his actions negatively, even when they were unintentional or less severe than perceived. It was confirmation bias in sports. Officials expected trouble from Summerbee, so they found it even when it wasn't really there. Yet the most frustrating part of Summerbee's story might be the perceived hypocrisy that surrounded his public image. He was known to complain about cheating in football while simultaneously discussing his own tough tackles and sneaky tricks. This disconnect between his stated ideals of fair play and his actual on-field conduct became a central criticism of his character. Reviews of his autobiography reveal this split opinion. One Amazon reviewer called Jude explicitly criticized this inconsistency, noting that Summerbee does lapse into that old familiar trait of the 60s-70s footballer, i.e., we were all tough but fair, never dived and never tried to cripple anyone, even though he had one of the greatest divers of all time in his team, a certain Francis Lee, and admits to leaving his foot in on numerous occasions. But another reviewer, Kay McGowan, praised the book as well written and honest, highlighting that Summerbee was not frightened to tell it how it is, and was honest to admit his faults, mistakes. This suggests that some readers saw self-awareness and candour in his recounting, which might have reduced the charge of hypocrisy for them. The truth is that Summerbee operated in a different era of football. The 60s and 70s were marked by a more physically demanding and less stringently officiated game than today's football. What he considered legitimate physical play might have been viewed as cheating by others, revealing the fluid and contested definition of fair play within the sport at that time. But perhaps the most tragic aspect of Summerbee's career was how his commitment to this physical style led to devastating injuries that cost him some of football's biggest moments. In 1970, he suffered a broken leg during the League Cup final. This severe injury directly led to him missing the prestigious European Cup Winners' Cup final just weeks later, which Manchester City won 2-1. Summerbee was sidelined for one of the club's most significant European triumphs. What happened next shows the dangerous pressures on professional athletes. Despite still recovering, Summerbee decided to return for what was described as a meaningless final day league fixture against Sheffield Wednesday. A knock on on his recovering leg during this game resulted in a full break, a devastating setback that vanished any hopes he had of being selected for the 1970 World Cup in Mexico. Missing the World Cup represented a profound blow to his international career aspirations and a lost opportunity on the global stage. His international career, which saw him earn only 8 caps for England between 1968 and 1973, was a cause of frustration for him and his many admirers. The critical timing of his major leg break in 1970 undoubtedly curtailed his opportunities and progression on the international stage. His injury problems continued into the 1970-71 season. Despite his return, he was sent off in the opening game. In late January, he broke a bone in his foot, causing him to miss 4 league games. Then, in March of the same season, he broke his left leg again, effectively ending his season after only 26 league appearances. This pattern showed a recurring vulnerability to severe leg injuries. The 1971-72 season began with another setback, a groin strain, though this time he only missed 2 games. Remarkably, he was then ever present for the remainder of the season, playing 40 league games. This represented his highest number of league appearances since Manchester City's championship success 4 years earlier, suggesting a period of relative fitness and durability despite the initial problem. What makes Summerbee's injury record even more remarkable is that his career was marked by physical challenges from its very beginning. Just 2 days after his debut for Manchester City in 1965, he was involved in a car wreck, but miraculously walked away with only bruises. It was a near-fatal incident that could have prematurely ended his career before it really began. The case of Summerbee's 1970 leg injury perfectly shows how an initial injury, particularly when followed by a potentially premature return to competitive play, can have a devastating, compounding effect on an athlete's career. The decision to play in a meaningless league game shortly after his initial broken leg, while still recovering, resulted in a full break that explicitly cost him his World Cup hopes. This chain of events highlights the immense pressures on professional athletes to return to action, even when not fully recovered, and the severe long-term consequences when those risks materialize. It shows the fragility of a top athlete's career and the critical importance of careful injury management, affecting not just immediate club success, but also deeply personal aspirations like World Cup participation. Despite being renowned for his physical style and suffering numerous significant injuries, there were periods of remarkable durability in Summerbee's career. This suggests that while his aggressive approach inherently carried higher risks of injury, his body was also capable of significant resilience and recovery. It challenges a simple view of a tough player as perpetually sidelined by injuries, demonstrating a more complex relationship between playing style, inherent injury risk, and an individual's physical constitution. Mike Summerbee's career leaves an indelible mark on Manchester City's most celebrated era. His aggressive playing style stands as a central paradox of his legacy, a source of profound admiration and cult hero status among his loyal fans, yet simultaneously a catalyst for controversy and criticism from opponents, officials, and some observers. The report has highlighted his remarkable resilience in the face of repeated career-threatening injuries, demonstrating an unwavering commitment to the game and a profound ability to overcome adversity despite the immense physical toll his style exacted. Summerbee embodies the quintessential figure of his footballing generation. He was a player whose intensity, raw skill, and occasionally confrontational nature encapsulated the rugged, less regulated spirit of a bygone era in English football. His enduring story is that of an athlete who lived and played by a distinctive code, leaving a legacy that continues to invite both fervent celebration and nuanced critical discussion. Was his career wasted? That depends on how you measure success. Summerbee won major trophies and became a cult hero whose name is still chanted at the Etihad Stadium today. But he also missed out on a World Cup, suffered countless injuries, and created controversies that overshadowed his achievements. His story reminds us that in football, as in life, our greatest strengths can also be our greatest weaknesses. That was Mike Summerbee, fierce, loyal, and scarred. A man who gave everything to the game he loved, even when it gave him pain in return. If you enjoyed this deep dive into one of football's most complicated legends, hit like and subscribe for more stories that reveal the human side of our sporting heroes.